Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everyone's doing fine. I was just saying that this is the part of the evening where I usually ask myself, what am I forgetting? And I thought I wasn't forgetting something, but I did forget something. I did forget to do audio checks on everyone's. I have to be fixing that on the fly, but I'm sure we're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. It's not like we're all about to start singing an aria. My friends, thank you so much for joining us here over at Folk&Myth as we play Society, our dark academia-themed Vampire the Masquerade game. And just like books, people around a gaming table are always better when there's more of them. And so I have gathered here with me tonight the creme de la creme of the vampire playing world. I would like to introduce them. Well, in fact, I'll let them introduce themselves. I will introduce one, and I will let them tell you who they are and who they are playing, and I will let them pass the buck on to somebody else. And since it is our first night here with us tonight, the incredible, the inimitable, the powerhouse that is Laura Tutu. Hi, Laura. How you doing?
Hi. Hello. Good evening, folks. As Blake said, you can call me Laura or Tutu or Laura Tutu. My pronouns are she, they. I will be playing Benedict Cruz of Clan La Sombra, whose pronouns are he, him. And I'm going to pass the buck on to Ava.
Hello, my darlings and dears. It's your Madam Ava here. I'm going to be playing Ramona Thompson tonight. We both use she, her pronouns, and we are also from Clan La Sombra. Over to Kato.
Hello, hello. I am Kato here, haunting the internet. My pronouns are they, them, and I am playing Sloane Marlowe, whose pronouns are she, her, and she's a Tremere.
I think there was a bit of a problem there at the factory.
Yeah, like I said in the caption, born to be a Bruja, forced to be a Tremere.
There you go. Some would view it as a bit of an upgrade.
Someone like you, sure.
I know. Hey, QC Jaren, what's up? Hey, Tremere, the best clan in the biz. La Sombra, second best. So, I'm already loving this table with all my heart. Thanks so much for joining us, one and all. A couple little shout outs before we continue on. As always, life is made so much more bearable over here on Folk&Myth by the fantastic Raven Sarah Knight. Our mod, best mod, number one mod. The Cain to my Abel. Wait a minute.
Which one gets killed?
Abel.
Abel, yeah.
Yeah, no, let her, yeah. Yep.
Music tonight is, as always the case, by Tim over at tabletopaudio.com, but also by Ivan Dutch. So please do check out their Patreons and links as they appear in the chat. They are amazing people doing a lot of really good stuff. All their music is free also, and you can use it in your streams and whatever else you got going on, even your little home games. They greatly enhance the atmosphere. There are no maps tonight. We are playing Vampire 5e. If you want to help out our friends here, you can be like the professor who at the end of the semester sees the grade of 58 and bumps it up to 60 by providing them with advantages. Your bits will buy them advantages. 200 bits for an advantage to the player of your choice, 500 bits for an advantage to everyone. Even though Cujo's not here, we'll put them aside for him to have next game if someone buys them. Advantages allow them to avoid a bestial critical, a critical roll, a critical failure, as well as buy an automatic success. So if you feel like helping out, that's how you can do it. As always, we appreciate your follows and subscriptions if you have the means for it, but just being here and hanging out with us and following us is really more than we could ever ask for. My friends, we are at the Brynwood Liberal Arts College near New Carthage in the state of New York. I know I traditionally don't take advantages, Aaron. I really appreciate the sentiment, but I traditionally don't. And since these are all La Sombras and Tremeres, I'm inclined to be kind to them. See, it's working out in your favor already. The college is the domain of one Annabelle Caravaggio, who is a former Toreador Justicar, who, upon her retirement from the position, was granted the right to choose a domain, and she chose this little out-of-the-way private college in upstate New York to set up as her domain. And she did it in order to help provide for her and her favorite archons, her 5 favorite archons, a place to, train and meet and possibly embrace the brightest minds that the college could provide. And so for some whiles now, this is what it has been. It has been kind of a breeding ground for Childer for these archons. Cato's character, Lone, was recently embraced by one of these archons. However, it seemed that Sloan was destined for the Bruja clan and the Bruja Archon, but at the last minute, Annabelle dictated that it would be her favorite Archon, the Tremere, who would get to embrace Sloan instead, leading to a bit of, what would you say, Sloan? You're feeling a little bit of
identity crisis?
Yeah, something like that?
Yeah.
You were embraced by Arceus, of the first house, the Tremere Archon, instead of by Albrecht of the third house, who is the Bruja Archon. Now, these Archons are not in C2, they're not here. They're out in the world doing Archon shit. And the houses that are named after them are overseen by ghouls who serve Annabelle. As we embark on tonight's adventure, 2 of these housemasters have so far been murdered in ways that come dangerously close. Well, let's not mince words. They're actually breaching the Masquerade, because whoever is killing these ghouls has been leaving behind messages and stuff that indicate that there are vampires about, and the ghouls have been killed in manner that mimic a vampire kill, with them being completely bloodlet, completely drawn of all their blood. And so the group here, primarily Sloan, who works for the what's the office you work for, Sloan?
I work for the Student Life office.
Yes, the Dean of Student Life's office. So Sloan, who works for the college, has been sort of taken on board to investigate this matter, as have Ramona and Sydney. Ramona is a model, a live model for the art classes here. And Sydney is actually a student here. So the 3 of you have been co-opted by you've all been co-opted by Darcy, the Associate Dean, Thomas Darcy of Clan Tremere, also the Associate Dean of the college, into attempting to figure out what's going on before breaches occur. The other thing that complicates the situation is that you have seen Annabelle Caravaggio wandering the grounds of the college in a seeming stupor, apparently seeing visions of the Gehenna War in the Middle East, and leaving behind pages of her personal journal, which also breached the Masquerade a whole lot. So before things get worse, before things spill outside of the college, you have bent your wills towards trying to uncover what's going on. The last thing that we saw, you had found the body of the second housemaster, Susan Brightly, dead in the cafeteria, not in the cafeteria, but in the dining hall of the teachers, the faculty dining hall. You had discovered on the walls had been written, "Vampires are here." You had discovered a book that was filled with dried black rose petals. And at the very last moment, just before we finished our evening last time, Sloan had a little vision. Sloan, you had seen, upon seeing these petals, you had seen yourself, or seen through your eyes as you were lying in some sort of box. And as you lay there looking up at the darkness above, you had seen a face lean in over you. This face is one that a lot of you have seen a few times tonight. The face of a young man dressed in the clothes of 1 or 2 centuries ago, this young man called the Carthaginian is believed to be a ghost that haunts these halls. You saw the Carthaginian do the ubiquitous sign and close the lid of your coffin. And as you come to, lying on the ground, you find Darcy and Ramona kneeling over you, looking quite concerned. You okay there, dear?
Holy shit.
You went off on a little jaunt there. Nice of you to come back.
Yeah, no, I was, what happened? Before I go into it, what happened on your end? And I like sit up and kind of like right myself a little bit.
Well, it appears we have a book full of dried black rose petals, and a rather egregious breach of the Masquerade right in the middle of the faculty dining hall. So things are not going that well here. Perhaps you have some good news for us?
I don't think so. Ramona, did you say that you saw a ghost too?
I did, yes.
In kind of old-timey clothes, holding a candle, looking a little pale and tragic.
High, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Carthaginian.
Yeah, no, I just saw the Carthaginian again. Like, that's what I saw.
You know the Carthaginian is just a myth, folk story, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's just a myth.
Well, I admit there are probably spirits and ghosts wandering these halls. I mean, a place like this would be...
Yeah, he locked
them.
me in a coffin.
Well, he didn't do a very good job of it, since you're lying right here in the middle of the faculty dining room.
Darcy, shut the fuck.
Hey, I'm still your boss, you know?
I don't care. What do you know about the Carthaginian?
Yeah, I really should have been embraced, Bruja. The Carthaginian. Some story, a long time ago, there was a kid, one of the students here, who had, I guess, not managed to make a lot of friends. He was used to snitching on the others when they would do little things out of... So, of course, we're talking about, maybe a century or two ago. So, students acting out back then was a little bit different than now. But the story is that this group of kids had formed a little secret society called the Silent Society, and they decided to teach him a lesson. They went into the church while the priest was napping. This kid was a choir boy. They chased him. He tripped on his choir boy robes and fell downstairs, and story has it that his neck broke and that the other kids hid his body somewhere in the church, and it's never been recovered. Now, they did bury a coffin in his honor with his name on it, but apparently the coffin was empty, and that's really... Oh, yeah. There was a thing, the kids had written Hand of Death or something like that. Like, it was clearly meant to be a prank to scare the kid that went wrong, if it occurred at all, if it happened at all, in fact.
Do you know anybody who knows a little bit more about this than your, SparkNotes version of it, Professor?
Well, look, we don't have time to go running after ghosts here.
No, we do have time to run after ghosts
but just
here.
Because you had a little bit of a vapor and that you found yourself...
Take care of cleaning this mess up and tell us where we can find out more about the Carthaginian.
I don't know. Try ghostsaurus.com. I don't know.
Oh, God, you're so useless. And I stand up.
Hey,
Is there someone who specializes in the occult around here, or mysticism?
There's this guy, Benedict. Yeah, sorry, Laura, you haven't met Darcy yet. Darcy's a bit of a dick.
Cool.
Tremere dickhead.
Benedict, he's the La Sombra, in fact, like you, Ramona. He runs a little curio shop in town. Actually, now that you mention it, I seem to recall him publishing some sort of thesis or a pamphlet or something on the Carthaginian. I think he got interested
Jesus
in that.
Christ.
Yeah, no, but he left.
You are as useful as a bag of old sponges, and I get up to my feet and I start leaving.
Look at Ramona. Kids today.
Are you gonna hold the book, or do you want us to hold the book?
No, I guess take it with you. I guess maybe. Look, I'm going to call Haresh and try to get that sorted so that we don't have a bunch of teachers coming in tomorrow morning to find a dead housemaster in the middle of the table. I mean, they're teachers; they probably wouldn't even blink. But who knows?
Okay.
I got this. Go and talk to Benedict Cumberbatch and let me know what he says.
Oh, I hope he doesn't look like him. That would be sad. I don't like that man.
I find him rather handsome myself, but to each his own. As Darcy calls up security to try and clean out this mess, the two of you find yourselves walking in a parking lot. I kind of picture Sloan as having this really old, beat-up, small red car, like an old Volkswagen Rabbit or something.
Yeah, totally. I think an old Volkswagen
with
Rabbit
is a bunch of like punk stickers on the.
It's full Strange Darling, like red interior as well.
Amazing. As you are crossing the lot and heading for the car, please feel free to chat. If you have nothing to chat about, we will move it along. Or what would you like to?
So, do you know this Benedict, or?
I've heard of him in passing. A lot of the kids who, I don't know, darken my door frames like to frequent it, crystals and Palo Santo and stuff like that. But I think he very truly believes in what he does. And I think some of the kids who go visit very truly believe in what he does. So it's the best bet.
Yes. If anything, well, remind me, Bleak, the pages that the flower petals were in, they didn't seem like to have a real pattern to it, right?
No, and even the book itself, which is a book of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow poetry and whatnot, like it's just, it doesn't seem to have any sort of connection.
Well, I guess this is the only real lead right now. I don't understand why he doesn't believe in ghosts. If vampires exist, why doesn't he believe in ghosts?
I think he's just, what's the word? A fucking idiot.
Sounds fair.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You saying that sounds fair. I don't think he's correct.
No, he's just a bumbling dummy who's my boss, and I hate it.
I hate it too.
Yeah.
You climb into the car. No effects comes on. Turn the volume a little louder.
Nazi punks, fuck off.
That's right. Yes, you can follow Kato on socials. Actually, Raven will pop out the links in chat. You head out into the night, heading into the town. Now, when you head into New Carthage is the quintessential little New England town. Like, just small, quaint, the kind of place where, 365 days a year, it's October, people are wearing cardigans and drinking pumpkin spice latte. It's just that kind of place. Every store, every little cafe, every restaurant looks incredibly cozy, incredibly cool. You pass by the 20 miles of Rough Road, your favorite punk bar, if they have a punk bar in town, that you feel a bit drawn to perhaps, but you realize you have stuff to do. And you head out into the Commons, which is this area in the center of town. It's like this big kind of roundabout, in the center of which is like this little park with a gazebo, and this is where the carolers come at Christmas and the whole 9 yards. Like, super freaking quaint. Move over. We're gonna yarf some sugar. This is just that kind of place. And around this kind of this roundabout, this kind of square, the center, are all these quaint, beautiful little shops. Down an alley, off a little bit to the side, is another little shop. Would you, Benedict, tell us a little bit about your shop?
Oh, I most certainly can do that, Cher. Charmed Curios is the name of this particular establishment. Benedict, being a transplant from the great state of Louisiana, has brought some of that Southern Gothic darkness to the roundabouts and cobbled streets of New England. The storefront showcases all manner of crystals and hanging herbs, incense, a couple of different books on display, everything from candle magic to cord cutting. And inside is just about as cluttered and quaint as you could possibly hope for in a occult bookshop / cafe.
Here's a question I have for you, Benedict.
Mm.
How real is your shop?
Oh, it's real.
Do you have like a little section for the tourists and then the real stuff, or is it just all real stuff and abandon all faith, you enter here?
Oh no, there is a section for those who like to come through and visit around the busy season in this area. I've found usually from about mid-August to a couple of days after Halloween is when I get the most business from the looky-loos. But if you go past the coffee bar, there is a curtain, and that is where the, as they say, the real magic happens.
And as you are a vampire, I assume you are open late, so that when this little red car pulls up in front of your place around midnight-ish, close to midnight, I assume the store is open?
Oh, of course.
You pull up in front of the shop, you see a few lights in there. Cato, Sloan might have been here at some point. I will let you decide if you've been here before. But certainly you know that some teachers will assign books that students will come and buy here. There's a fair amount of people in this area that are, a little witchy on the side, and so the shop does brisk business and does well enough for itself. You step out of the car, that air is crisp and cool, and after the stuffiness of the college and all the murders and everything, this feels a little bit liberating, I think. And as you step through the door, you see, please, Benedict, tell us a little bit about what they see.
They would see a gentleman, dark-skinned, very clearly of African-American descent. His hair is neatly cut in a fade, and there's a neatly done goatee to match. Dressed in the prerequisite black that you would expect from someone who runs such an establishment, with a scarf and all manner of occult jewelry bedecking his wrists, his fingers, a single silver hoop in his ear. And he's currently helping a young lady with a small stack of books.
Ooh, and as you come in, would you, we'll start with Ava, since Cato stepped away, but Ava, would you give us a little description of what Benedict would see?
Benedict would see a woman roughly around 5'8", darker skin, also African-American features, hair naturally done in twists of strands of gold and black, with a more relaxed stance. She seems to be someone who will look a lot more glamorous, but she tones it down a lot by wearing a lot of shawls, but the glamour still peeks through the jewelry that she wears. A lot of heavy, gaudy gold, and just a kind sadness behind eyes of like an old Hollywood type of beauty.
And Sloan?
Sloane is a tall, kind of willowy, very bony, but probably could throw a decent punch type. With her traditional black nail polish, she's tattooed in black and gray from like collarbone down, and she has tousled red hair and a number of piercings all down the side. And is a professor in the philosophy department because her philosophy is a whole bunch of things.
Her philosophy is fuck you. As you walk in, you recognize Benedict right away for what Benedict is. And Benedict, you recognize these two also exactly for what they are, which is vampires. You smell each other. You can sense that you are all probably of an approximate vintage, so to speak. The client that you're currently serving is like, I just wasn't sure. Should I put this in the bath before I get in or once I'm in? Like,
Sugar, just you're gonna want to set your intention over it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My intention is to become a lot more attractive all of a sudden.
And I love that for you.
It's just Albert doesn't look at me the way he used to, and it's it makes me sad a little bit at times. I try my darndest. I cook him what he likes. He likes those little poached eggs with the little cod on the side there, and I cook him that. And with the onions, man, that breath is killer. And and still I put up with it, and I cuddle up to him.
Oh,
and
excuse me.
Yes.
I think I have an appointment. I hope I'm not late. Am I intruding right now?
No, and she's surrounded now by vampires, and you're all very striking people. So all of a sudden, Philomena here is like, well, I think I will be taking all three of these, and I will set my intention very clearly upon them. And I thank you, Mr. Benedict, as always. You've never failed me before. You're always an angel. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course, Miss Phil. Just as a thought, don't limit yourself, Cher. Just remember that.
Okay, I'll give it the old college try. You're all so beautiful, and then she picks up her stuff. And now, the three of you are standing there.
Benedict, was it?
That's what they call me.
Could I ask you a favor? Could you close up early?
Close up early?
Yeah, we have a very serious thing to talk to you about, and I don't want to get interrupted.
Uh-huh. Well, darling, do you have a name there, Red?
Yes, sorry. Hi, I'm Sloane. I work at the school.
Ramona.
Oh. Ramona. Well, darling, I appreciate the urgency that you two have walked into my establishment with. However, cutting me off in the middle of my busy season.
Yes, I'm really sorry about that, but 2 ghouls are dead.
One of you is going to owe me a boon for this, and I will walk over, make sure the anyone who's lingering, I'll let them know there's been a slight emergency, if you wouldn't mind. So sorry, terribly sorry for the inconvenience. Shuffle them out the door and flip the sign to closed.
No problem, Benedict. No problem. You're well liked in the community. So. They shuffle out. I wonder what kind of an emergency Benedict would have then. Well, who else you gonna call if there's a ghost?
Doors locked, shades are pulled, and I turn around to face these 2 other kindred. Benedict is being moderately territorial. Doesn't seem to appreciate someone coming in and telling him how to run his business.
Look, I know it's super rude of us to just barge in here, especially when you're deep in busy season, but we have 2 dead ghouls. One of them was found today, and I was wondering if you knew anything about the Carthaginian.
Carthaginian?
Yeah.
I mean, I know just about as much as everybody else does, Miss Sloan.
I know it sounds... Ramona, I know it sounds real nuts, but I just have a feeling that this ghost is tied to all these people dying. Look, the ghouls, the people who watch over the society houses at the school are getting picked off one by one, which means there's probably some sort of breach happening. And if that's the case, it's not just the school who's in danger. I know you couldn't really give a fuck about it, but like, it's all of us at that point.
Mm-hmm. God damn. Cool. And as frustrating as it is, storyteller, I do understand that a lot of my business does come from the school and the students who populate it.
I would say that that's your steady business. Like every year, you know you're going to get this much. And it's kind of like, you know, what allows you to take chance on other things. And even if you have like a slower year on some other stuff, like it's kind of like you're steady, you know, in the fall and in January, you're going to sell a certain amount of books and a certain amount of things. Because there's a couple of, you know, out there professors at the college. Is a liberal arts college after all. And so you supplying all sorts of stuff. So it is like a good, it's your basic page.
All right. Never could turn down a good ghost hunt. So, what? Have you seen him?
I personally saw him right outside of one of the art classrooms, and Sloan, from what it sounded like, maybe a vision? Not too...
Yeah, I saw him twice, actually. I saw him once when Annabelle was kind of wandering around, and then I saw him a second time when we found this book next to the body.
This one.
And as soon as all them rose petals fell out of there, I got this vision of the ghost, and I was in a coffin, and he told me to shush, and then he closed the lid, and then I woke up, but... I'm not one to know much about anything to do with the other side. Well, I guess being in this liminal space anyway. But I just have a feeling that maybe, given everything that's gone on in the last, 4 hours, there might be something a little bit bigger than us afoot.
Huh. Storyteller, I have my own opinions about the Carthaginian.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly the knowledge that no student on that goddamn campus has died in such a fashion that is claimed.
Nope.
So as far as I'm aware, it's a load of bullshit.
Yep. But I think that, and I would like to point out that Kay has just given you a hail, Laura, so that gives Benedict a night move, an advantage.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Kay. I think that while your character has found no evidence of it, and as themselves not seen necessarily evidence of it, I think that there's a part of you that remains unfulfilled by what you have discovered, because for something to be so unsubstantiated but yet have so much of a hold over a locale that they've literally named this ghost after a place, right? The place is called New Carthage and the ghost is called the Carthaginian. You've always felt like maybe you missed something. Maybe there's something that, you know, like, yeah, all evidence points that there's probably nothing yet. And also, as Cato likes to.
And also, there is a wholly unnecessary sigh. All right. Damn. I suppose it's better than sitting around here peddling crystals to sorority girls for the night. If you two want to follow me, and I will move towards the back of the shop, past the coffee bar, past the curtain that cuts it off.
You see an old black cat just curled up in this little, there's like a little sort of coffin-shaped cat bed, and there's this old black cat that's just sort of curled there, and as you walk by and you give him a little pet, the cat just opens one eye and casts it on you, Ramona, and on you, Sloan, and you feel this intense perusal, this judgment of your persons as you walk by. Will you also pet the cat?
Yes, of course.
I think Ramona will give like the head nod of like a bow, of like a respectful bow, and then hold her hand out because she's uncertain.
I'll give you the storyteller, and I'm gonna make a decision right now. His name is Hero.
I love it. Oh my
Sloan, I'm sorry, he is going to hiss at you because you just reached out without proper deference.
Sorry.
He looks at you a little bit and then looks back at Ramona and very regally extends a paw into Ramona's hand. And Ramona, you're like, oh, it's nice he's giving it, and he puts his other paw, and you're like, oh, he's giving me both, and the third and then the fourth, and next thing you know, he's climbing up on your shoulder.
Oh my goodness.
He's a shoulder cat.
Oh, I feel so honored.
He settles it
He's a
around
good
your neck.
boy.
I'll try again later.
I wouldn't hold my breath, Cher. And back here it's decidedly more organized than the front of the shop. And some of the items are decidedly more ill-gotten. There's a couple of containers that have a suspicious red liquid. There's some jars of bones that are a little too slender to be like sheep knuckles. That kind of thing. So you might not want to look too closely. But Benedict is going to gather a couple of items. Storyteller, if you will allow it, I would like to make sure that I have the items that I would need for one of my Oblivion ceremonies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the kind of thing that I would probably try to keep on hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it gets all bundled up into a like a real plain leather, like crossbody bag. Well, lead the way.
Right, yeah. Are you cool if I drive?
Sure.
Okay. And I just like turn around and like my hands are deep in like inside the battle vest, like not wanting to touch anything, don't want to be disrespectful whatsoever.
As you walk back by the little cat bed, you'll feel a light tap on your shoulder, Ramona, and as you stop, very regally, again, Hero will stand up and stretch. And stretch. And stretch. Still stretching. And then yawn.
Oh, big stretch.
Take your time.
Big yawn. And then slowly
big yawn.
Big yawn.
walk down your arm. Go back to the little coffin cat.
It was an honor. Thank you.
And arches an eyebrow at you and looks at you with a half opened eye that says, "You're right, it was." And then
I know.
closes his eye and starts to purr.
I do. He gets like those real good like under the chin scritches to the point where he does that thing where he kind of stretches his neck out.
He's all black, but he's got this little white crescent moon just on the side
Like
here.
on his throat. It's right there.
All right,
I am a stereotype.
You step outside. You step outside, lock up the shop behind you. The night is fairly quiet at this point. There's usually not a lot of traffic down here. At this time of night, it's getting close to 1 a.m. by the time you are back in the car. puttering away back towards the college. And as you approach Brynwood Liberal Arts College, you've been here before, Benedict. You've visited the grounds, obviously, when you were researching stories about the Carthaginian. It is a very, very nice, very quaint, very, typical New England kind of college. It is kind of isolated a bit from the town. It's built strangely, where there's like this main kind of building, and then there's a bunch of other buildings from kind of like this big U, and at the other end is the chapel. And as you pull up, there are no cars anywhere in the parking lot. It's completely empty. You make your way up the stairs, and as always, all of you being attuned to these strange things, as when you approach this this college, first of all, you know that it is the domain of a former Justicar. That in itself is fairly impressive. But there's also the very weight of history here, and on top of that, there's the fact that Annabelle, having brought, and those of you who were in Annabelle's home last time saw some of her things, there is that kind of sense of an even deeper connection to history that comes with the Kindred having been here, and that their sort of, their immortality, of course, but also their connection through history, and it reaching so far back and yet still existing in this day and age. You walk into the front hall. The door is locked, but Sloan, you have a pass key. You open it, you walk in, and as you step up, you see Darcy coming along. He's wiping his hands. He's got a rag. His cardigan sleeves are rolled up, and he's got a rag, and he's wiping what appears to be blood on his hands. He's got an unlit cigarette on the corner of his mouth again. He's like, cavalry's here. All right, excellent.
Darce, this is Benedict. Benedict, this is my dickhead boss, Darcy.
Yes, hi. We've had occasion to meet. I've been down to your shop a few times. I must say that I'm always impressed with the quality of some of the items that you have there, and I do not, as many do, consider you a hack in any way, shape, or form, so you are welcome here.
Hello, Darcy.
Very kind of you to come and help us out. Sloan here seems fairly certain that some non-existent ghost is responsible for all this, so perhaps we could take a look at that.
Well, I suppose that's what I'm here for.
Let's step over here. It'll be a bit more comfortable. And he leads you into kind of the secretary pool office, where you can pull up chairs or sit on a desk or something. The room itself has got that kind of deep red plush carpeting, the beautiful dark wood walls with pictures of former teachers and former faculty and things of that nature, and these two big beautiful windows that open out onto the courtyard. You can see the rotunda back there, and beyond it the chapel, the rotunda where you saw Annabelle for the first time earlier tonight. As he sits down, he's patting his pockets like he's looking for a light. So, anything you can tell us about the Carthaginian that we don't know, or what are we working with here?
Well, I can tell you for certain that no student in the history of this college has died in such a manner as is described by the death of this Carthaginian. So, I'm not sure what you're seeing, but there's a chance I might be able to see what it is that could be attracting something like that to the area.
I remember you coming about a lot back in the day, investigating this Carthaginian situation.
Yep.
What made you stop?
To find something more.
Sorry, what made you stop? That's, I guess, kind of germane to the question right now. Like, why did you stop being interested in it? Did you figure out that there was nothing to it, or?
Well, between the fact that again, no student has died in such a fashion as is described in that little legend of yours. And what is it? What's the phrase that the kids say they found?
Oh,
Well,
hand of death. Was it the hand of death?
man.
Yeah, more man, death hand, right? That's what it means in French.
No, that's not what it means at all. It is the possession in perpetuity of real property by the church. And the ownership records of that church, well, the chapel doesn't belong to the capital C church. It belongs to the school.
Yeah, because we had it built. The chapel that sits there right now is not the original chapel that was here. That was built maybe 60, 70 years ago.
What was originally there?
There was nothing there. Like, we built it off the ground. I don't really remember. I guess I don't think there was a chapel. I seem to recall that one of the buildings was a nunnery, but for the life of me, I couldn't tell you which one it was. Because that's what was here originally, was a nunnery, and then they built around it the college. And then eventually down the line, the nunnery stopped being used as what it was, and eventually they built the church that's out back.
Benedict, I have a question, or I guess a query of sort. You kept mentioning that no student has passed from such an event. Is it possible that this took place before it was a school, and then just because a school was built around it, it got associated with a student?
Well, it's entirely possible. Considering we quoted a DOS there, we have at somewhere on this sprawling campus, we have what used to be a nunnery. And no one does guilt or repression quite like the Catholics. So,
but why would a bunch of kids ostensibly involved with the killing of another kid, if that's what happened, why would they have written mortme in such a word? Like, it seems, far as one of all, completely archaic and too unrelated. Like, I don't get it.
Storyteller, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
This description of the kid who had, like, a kid who had been killed in his choir robes, you know, what is actually the depiction of the ghost that we see, and how old does this ghost look?
He looks dressed like a young gentleman from the 18th century. He looks to be maybe in his early 20s, clean shaven with dark slick black hair. Imagine a very young John Cusack kind of look.
Got it. I turned to Benedict. Well, it just, all these stories about him being a kid and it being this like schoolyard prank gone wrong seems really weird, considering the fact he looks like he's 25.
Well, yeah, maybe ghosts age differently than the rest of us do.
Maybe ghosts don't age, Darce.
Anyone got a light?
If you take another one of my fucking lighters, I swear to God, old man, I'll put you through a window.
Did I take your lighter?
I will. I'm gonna take from my bag. I'll pull an actual, like, honest to Christ matchbook and toss it to Darcy.
Thanks. He takes it, puts it in his pocket. Now, we did bury it. We didn't. I wasn't here, but my understanding is that they did bury something. There is a coffin somewhere in the bottom of the church, I think, maybe, was buried kind of in honor or in memory of this thing. The coffin was empty, I guess, but is that what you saw maybe in your vision, Sloan?
No, I was in the coffin and he was closing the lid.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is there actually a gravesite, or like, is there a headstone?
No, it's just, there's a bit of a kind of a, I don't want to say a full mausoleum, but there's like it's not even really a real mausoleum because they were putting an empty casket in there. I think it's just a little room that they built kind of special for that. But now that you're making me think about it, a couple of years ago, the village had all their old paperwork put on microfiche, and then they stored all the old paperwork here in the library. We might be able to figure out which building used to be the nunnery.
Yeah, we should probably do that because I imagine we're going to have to, I don't know, disinter something.
But we're not disinterring anything yet. We're going to go disinter some information.
You're not disinterring anything yet. We might have to go disinter something.
All right, before we desecrate any graves, let's go to the library and see what we can find there, right? You like the library, right, Benedict? You seem to be a fairly studious fellow. You never came here. You should be taking night classes here. We got tons of really interesting stuff, you know.
Anyway, we're going to the library,
I'm
right?
just saying, we got interesting classes.
Yes, we are. Darcy, point of interest, actually. Considering that I have been pulled away from my shop, how am I going to be made whole for this whole situation?
Well, there is value and recompense of the soul in assisting institutes of higher learning of
Where's the
qualities.
money, Darce? Pay the man.
Fine, I'll have the secretaries cut you a check tomorrow. Let's just go. Jeez
Lovely.
Louise. As you climb up the stairs and head to the library, you realize that I've clicked off the don't show the map thing in there. We'll fix it in post.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Okay, we'll do it live. Library. Yes, go ahead.
I was wondering if I could ask Benedict a question as we're walking.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
You prefer Benedict, right? I don't want to be a dickhead and call you Ben or something.
You call me Ben and I will turn around and leave.
Okay, great. Definitely not going to do that.
Don't call him Ben.
Have you spent a lot of time around other kindred, or have you been kind of solo operating for a while?
I'd say solo operating. Folks come in and out of the shop all the time, but most folks are polite enough to understand that it is my territory and don't really muscle in.
Yeah, I'm not trying to muscle in or anything. I just was wondering if you have ever seen a vampire like sweat blood, not in a blood boiling kind of way, but have you ever seen a kindred just kind of leaking?
What?
Yeah, it was weird.
Leaking how?
Well, I know that Tremere can do like weird blood magic-y shit that I'm still working on learning. But it didn't seem blood magic-y. It looked like bad. It looked like really bad. It looked like something like a sickness that she has or something like that. It was just kind of oozing out of her pores.
It was almost like her entire body was just crying blood.
Lovely. Storyteller, what the fuck?
Go ahead and make it an occult plus intelligence roll.
Sorry to derail your Blake. I just
No,
thank you,
okay.
Raven Sarah.
It's okay. We appreciate very much here at Folk&Myth that the chat is part of the experience. It's the same as providing
us for cheating.
a night move. No, it's the same as providing a night move or something like that. We firmly believe that there are three groups telling the story: the GM, the players, and the audience.
That's true. So that is 4 successes. However, I'm nosy and I think I'm going to drop a willpower so I can get a little more information.
Right you are. You will have heard that there have been over the years, more specifically in the earlier years around the Dark Ages, things like that, strange afflictions and diseases that have afflicted kindred in a way that would forcefully expel blood from their body by any available orifice, which a lot of time happens to be pores of the body rather than the mouth, nose, or ear. You know that there are certain rituals that can do it, but they are not the kind of thing that you just kind of, not like Cauldron of Blood for the Tremere that you just show up and do it. But certainly you've not heard or seen any of that kind of thing happening, recently or around here or any of that. However, I will also say, and this may be a little tangential, but it's going to connect, that your character would be aware that things are changing, that the Gehenna Wars supposedly have begun. Obviously, there's nothing super concrete, but you know that there are things happening, that there are rumors of very ancient kindred awakening in the older parts of the world, that there are, whenever that happens, something that powerful and that old awakening from centuries or even thousands of years of slumber is bound to have an impact. And it could be that their presence shifts things or reintroduces old diseases of the blood that have not been seen for a while, or for all people know, there may be kindred bloodlines that have long lay dormant that we haven't seen that, might do something like that. So what I'm trying to say with all of that is that on a normal timeline, you would say that there have been things like that before. It's not something that's been seen. However, the times they are changing, and really at this point, nothing would surprise you. However, sorry, let me add one more thing. Sorry. One thing that you would figure is that regardless of what it is, you get the feeling that it would be internal and not external, i.e. it's something that's happening from within her rather than something being done to her.
Okay. And then the willpower reroll gave me another success, so that turns it into 5 successes.
5 successes.
5 successes.
That's pretty solid. I think you would have heard that one of the things that's supposedly going on is there's something called that people are referring to as the beckoning, which is that vampires of a certain potency of blood or a certain age are being summoned or beckoned or forced. And this has been going on very slowly at first, and now a bit more for a couple decades now, but are being summoned and forced to head towards Europe and the older countries. You would say that someone attempting to resist something like that, for example, might cause this kind of reaction to it. Because since the call or the beckoning is targeting creatures of a certain blood potency, then it has something to do with the blood. It's activating the blood, it's doing something to the blood, it's forcing the blood. And so if someone was actively trying to, it would be kind of like a fever in a human. Like if there was something attacking the body, the body would, try to defend itself, and it would kind of be this kind of reaction maybe. And I think that you would feel that it might possibly be connected to something like that.
How old is Annabelle?
Are you asking the storyteller, or is Benedict asking?
I'll clarify, because I don't know if anyone's actually told Benedict who is having this issue.
Annabelle Caravaggio. She's the head of the school. She's really, really old Toreador.
She was around. She was around in the declining years of Constantinople, as far as I can tell. Person.
So old.
Oh my goodness, that is old.
Yeah, she's really, really old.
Well,
Darcy made me take this quiz when I became a Tremere, and then I had to learn all these things, and just...
Yeah, by the way, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Your results are not quite satisfactory. I mean, for a Bruja, they were pretty good, but for a
I'm going to
Tremere,
kick you in the shins.
I'm just saying,
I'm going to kick you in the shins.
Back to the matter at hand.
Jeez Louise.
If Annabelle is that old, if her blood is that ancient, she could be trying to resist the beckoning, which would have ill effects.
Cool. Cool.
And I'll explain because I'm not going to re-monologue what the storyteller just monologued. I will explain the physical reaction, the fact that given the rumblings of Gehenna, where all sorts of nonsense could be coming to a head. So there's that.
Great. Thank you for that info.
It seems like a lot of unknowns, and because there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of possibilities.
Yes. However, if we get to the library, and if I have a moment to, dip into some of my expertise, we might be able to narrow down some of that unknown.
Yeah, that would be great. Anyway, library, right?
You climb the stairs up to the library. The library itself, when you're outside looking at it, it sort of looms like a forlorn cathedral of knowledge in the very heart of the ivy-clad campus. Its towering stone facade rises from the shadows, long corridors stretching out like forgotten passages from an ancient tome. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of aged paper, leather bindings, and the faintest trace of dust, centuries of thoughts contained within its dim-lit walls. Flickering lanterns cast eerie shadows across the high arched windows, through which little light escapes the weight of the overgrown foliage outside. The ceiling arches impossibly high, its roofs crisscrossing in intricate stonework, like the inside of dark, cavernous cathedral. Beautiful paintings adorn the wall, almost like an imitation, and a successful one, of the Sistine Chapel. Across the room, tall, grimy windows allow only slivers of light, creating halos around the towering bookcase that climb toward the unseen vaults of the upper floors. These shelves are crammed with old leather-bound volumes. They seem to groan under the weight of centuries of accumulated knowledge, their spines cracked, their titles worn to illegibility. It's clear that this is no ordinary collection of books. This is Annabelle Caravaggio's own collection of books. The atmosphere as you step inside is thick, almost palpable, with the sense that the book themselves are watching, guardians of forbidden knowledge, echoing with the whispers of those who have sought their truths. The air is stuffy yet cool, as if the walls exhale a chill, and a strange, quiet hum fills the space, almost like the soft rustle of pages turning in the distance, or the occasional creak of wood echoing down the vast hallways. Strange, heavy silence drapes over everything. The knowledge within these walls, you feel, you reckon is ancient, timeless. Its mysteries demanding to be uncovered, yet never fully understood. The library in its Gothic grandeur is a monument to both the pursuit and the burden of learning. A place where darkness and intellect intertwine in a delicate, unsettling balance. You move along the rows and rows of books. This library is far more well stocked, far more older than a library in this type of college could really be. You feel Annabelle's touch curating the entire place. Books on art outnumber everything else. Many of the other books that are here, students will never need, will never even be able to understand them. There are books in ancient Greek, in Latin, in Sumerian, in all sorts of dead languages. As you step through, start moving around, looking for books that might help you out. Darcy goes over to a collection of old papers that's stored in a vault in the back. What would you like to do? Do you want to look for anything else? Anything specific? Do you want to just browse? Do you want to wait to see what Darcy comes up with? What are your characters doing?
Nah, fuck Darcy. I would just want to look to see if there's anything that stands out that would be interesting to read. And not like, chemical engineering for dummies or whatever.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ramona?
I think Ramona is going to kind of saddle up to Benedict real quick. I don't wish to impose on you. It's not often I see others of our clan. The ritual that you are going to be preparing, is that something that Aid would assist with, or completely separate?
Well, for the ceremony, I would need a name. Unfortunately, the moniker that has been bestowed upon this particular spirit will not do the trick. So that's going to take a little bit more research. However, this whole place is, well, to put it bluntly, haunted as fuck.
Yeah.
So I do have something that might tell us just what we're dealing with insofar as the whatever's left of the veil, the link between this world and the next.
All right. To quote my sire, the one who lures people into the shadow type of La Sombra, not a dealing with the shadows type of La Sombra, but anything I can do to help, especially because you took the time, I'll be happy to assist.
Oh, that's all right. Sure, if I need anything, I will be sure to let you know. Besides, my cat likes you, so.
All right, sounds good. And I think after that conversation, she's going to see if maybe there's history about the nunnery here. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something.
And as for Benedict, what is Benedict doing?
Well, storyteller, I have an oblivion power called Where the Veil Thins.
Mm-hmm.
Vampires with an affinity for oblivion can sense where the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead is at its weakest. This power doesn't tell a vampire why the veil between worlds is thin in a certain place, though. In locations where the veil is thinnest, mortal health suffers, and the use of oblivion discipline is easier. It can potentially tell me just how degraded the veil is in a particular area. So
what's the range on that thing?
It can be an entire building or a landmark.
Okay. Fair roll that comes with that?
Mm-hmm. It would be intelligence and oblivion.
Well, knock yourself.
Uh-oh, I'm about to unveil all of Bleakseason's secrets.
Oh dear.
I have
okay.
more secrets than I could ever unveil in
Yeah, that's true.
100 games.
So,
You're interested.
first of all, Benedict's gonna make sure. I'm assuming we are alone in the library. There aren't students.
There's nobody. The place has been locked down and vacated yet.
Great. Perfect. So Benedict is going to walk sort of under the across the that ancient wood floor that creaks and settles as you move across it. The mark of a place that, as a friend of ours likes to say, a mark of a place that's got good bones. And as he does, I do need to make a rouse check.
Rouse yourself. What was a dicey proposition?
Leave your own game.
I swear to God. Well, that puts me at hunger too, but we do what we must.
You feel a pinch of hunger gnawing inside of you as you exert yourself and spread out your shadows, your senses reaching out, palping the shadows, moving along, trying to see where the veil is thinnest. The first thing that you notice, and I will say that you've noticed this a lot in the past couple of months, the veil is extremely thin everywhere. Something happened. As far as your character knows, something happened in Venice a few months ago that created some sort of rift. And since then, the veil has been extremely thin and ghosts have been really, really present. So you're not too sure exactly what's happening. You've heard rumors that it has something to do with the Giovanni and something called the Hecata, whatever the fuck those guys are. And that something big is kind of happening. So you've definitely seen that. As you look through this room, you look at all those portraits on the ceiling, and you see all the people in them start to animate. All of them ghostly figures that start to look at you. You feel how porous, how delicate the veil is between this world and the next. You feel like it's a piece of cellophane stretched out to just the point before it breaks. Thank you very much, Raiders, for coming in. Just as see the veil is thin. The Raiders are coming in. Thanks, Glass Job, man. Appreciate you. And you feel that generally it's just sort of very thin, kind of everywhere. You don't feel as if in this particular room there is a breach, but you can feel not only the ghosts in the paintings, but all the ghosts and spirits attached to all these books that have been around for generations, passed from one hand to another, from one dying person to another in a will, from one dying person to another in a fit of murderous passion. All of these things have ghosts and spirits attached to them. And right now they're all turning and looking at you.
Okay. So that is 5 total successes on the roll. I actually have a little table here on a demiplane. Thanks, demiplane, for not making me flip through 4 separate books to find my oblivion powers. So, Storyteller, would you say that the veil in this area is thin or frayed?
I would definitely say, like, thin on the way to frayed. Like, it's happening. It's disintegrating.
Okay. So thin would mean that a death recently took place here. Melancholic mortals often pass through this place. Frayed would mean a series of deaths took place here, and oblivion ceremonies are often enacted here.
Yeah, there is 2 deaths that have recently occurred, the 2 housemasters.
Yes.
And you see their spirits kind of forlorn, kind of moving slowly, lost through the library. There's something else that I'm going to let you see, but I want you to finish first. If there's anything else you want to do with
this. So Benedict is walking down this sort of main hall, and each step, there is a ripple under his boots as if he's stepping in a shallow puddle. But the puddle is a pool of shadow with each step. And the ripples sort of pulse out along the floor across the room.
As you do this, you notice that a lot of these ghosts and spirits are kind of moving with you. Kind of curious. You'll feel a pull. You'll feel a ripple in the veil. You follow it. As you do, you see the ghost and the spirit kind of move ahead of you, and they all start cramming around this window. And they're all pointing at it, and it looks almost kind of like one of those, Renaissance paintings of all these different ghosts kind of pointing down, at something in the center. And the center is this beautiful stained glass window that looks out onto the back of the school. As you approach the window, you feel, again, those vibrations, almost kind of like a spider would feel vibrations in the web when something was caught in it. And as you approach the window, you see, well, they are all pointing. And you can see that they're all pointing at this beautiful little house that is sort of hidden away a little bit behind everything else. There's a hedge of cedars and a little walkway and a low stone wall that surrounds it. There's one light burning in one of the top floors. When you look at it, you can see that that is where it is at its thinnest. You see shreds of the veil floating in the wind like ripped silk or some other form of what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a torn cobweb?
Yeah, kind of thing.
Like gossamery, diaphanous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pointing at that house.
Benedict will turn to look at the others, and for anyone who turns to look at him as he calls out, his eyes that are normally a deep brown, irises, sclera, all are just flat black. What's down there? That house?
Which one of you two would be closest? You were wanting to help Eva, so I would assume that it's you.
Yeah, I think so.
You look down through the window across the way, and you realize Benedict is pointing at Annabelle's home.
I believe that's Annabelle's home.
The veil is almost non-existent there. It's like something took claws and shredded it apart.
Is that a part of the whole beckoning or something different?
Oh, much different. With the veil being that thin, that destroyed, it means any kind of spirit can just saunter on through.
Well, that is bad. Okay. How do we fix it?
That, I'm afraid, is beyond my particular knowledge.
Thank you for the follow. And as that discussion is going on, Sloan, you're walking along the various hallways created by these bookshelves, looking for anything that jumps out at you, looking for anything that, might kind of stick out as a bit of a clue. You are walking along, looking at the books, and at some point you look up and you just catch a glimpse of someone turning the corner at the other end.
I go into Sloan fight mode, which is just I'm going to keep an eye on this because they won't get the first shot in. So I'm going to just move as stealthily as I can, kind of around to follow, just enough distance that they couldn't close it if it came to that.
As you move towards the end of the little
Stacks
of books, so yeah, between the books and the shelf on top, you can see on the other side someone's chest.
Do I see what kind of fabric?
Yeah, it looks like a
wearing?
black suit with a white shirt and a cravat. And as you spot them, they stop and you hear the distinct sound of a book sliding against other books. And then they turn and continue moving down.
As soon as they're clear enough of that, I'm going to turn and see where they are, like where categorized we are in the Dewey Decimal System of what book they could have possibly taken, and then see if I can catch where they went.
You turn around the corner, you don't see anything, you don't see them, it's as if no one has ever been there, but when you look down the hall, down the stack, you see the very neatly, very well organized books, and then about halfway down, one is sticking out a few inches from the others.
I make my way down there and mutter something like, because no human could stack books like this, and then I go and take the one that's sticking out a little bit.
You pull the book. It looks really old. Almost outdated. As you turn it over in your hand, you see that it's a book on the building of sailing ships from 17th century. You realize you're in a section of books that are relics, no longer useful. Désuet, as we say in French. The information in them no longer really viable, even in anything but some sort of historical research sense.
I carefully, presuming that it's a little bit falling apart, maybe the glue's coming undone from the spine, that I just carefully open it and just gently leaf through it.
You open it, gently leaf through it. It's a long treatise, very philosophical, on the building of boats. There are some diagrams. There's a long-ass section on whales. You have no clue why it's in there, but it's in there. It kind of reminds you a little bit of Moby Dick. You're like, what the fuck? In fact, it sounds like Moby Dick. It's written in the same kind of language. And as you flip through it, you really see nothing about this book that would make it meaningful in any way, shape, or form.
I open the front cover and back cover and see if there's anything maybe written or printed on there.
Starts to tear in your hands a little bit, but other than that, you don't see anything.
I close it and I flip it both sides in my hand and I look back at the shelf where I pulled it from.
When you look back at the shelf where you pulled it from, at the end of the cavity left by the book, you see a folded piece of paper.
I gingerly reach a clawed finger in there and pull that out.
You pull it out. It's not very old. Maybe a piece of paper that is 30 years old, maybe 40 years old, something like that. It's yellowed and folded over several times, but it's not centuries old.
I open it.
You unfold this paper. You see an image of a skull with a dagger plunged into it. The letters Q and S stamped in the forehead of the skull, and the skull has very pronounced vampiric fang. The paper, which has been folded and refolded several times, reads, "Congratulations. You have found this. You have found the quietest society. We meet on Wednesdays at midnight, among the dead and the aroma of black roses. Find us. But remember to hold silent, lest your own quietus be made with a bare bodkin. Come. Eternal life awaits those who dare." After you have read this message, hold it again and place it atop the same book on which you found it. The quietest society.
I just, in my slightly higher than library level voice, go, y'all, I got some we need to take a look at.
What?
Yeah, make your way this way. And I like wave my hand like as high up in the air.
As you head towards there, you hear Darcy say, I found the papers. God damn it, I guess they were part of that batch of papers that got water damage before they moved them over. I can't really make heads or tails out of any of it. You hear him flipping through some pages and stuff. The two of you, Ramona and Benedict, still kind of shaken by everything that you've seen, walk back, find Sloane in the middle of the books.
I hold out the note. Interesting.
Let me see. She'll just read it over.
I posted it in our channel.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah. What is today, storyteller?
Tuesday.
Well, y'all fancy a date night tomorrow night?
Well, let me check my schedule. Yes, I'm fine. Yes.
Nothing says you can't go tonight
far.
either. Just saying, don't necessarily have to wait tomorrow night. Up to you.
It says meets on Wednesdays at midnight.
Yeah,
Do we?
I'm just- I'm
you're
just
saying
that-
we could go and do a little reconnaissance. Not a bad
That
plan.
sounds kind of what I'm
This
doing.
is a hint from the Bleakseason to go do a thing.
I'm just saying, like, why not know what's going on ahead of time before you?
Yeah. I, as someone who hasn't frequented the campus here, among the dead and the aroma of does somebody grow black roses on this campus?
We did find black flower petals in the book.
It's over back by the church. There's a graveyard, isn't there?
They're actually around the church, at the base of the church.
So ominous.
Oh, lovely. I don't suppose we've found any more information on this child ghost that might not actually be a child ghost.
No, I just found this.
All right.
I got. It's hard to tell as Darcy comes over. These papers are really waterlogged.
I'm sorry. Are you an associate dean? What
Yeah.
do you do?
I assist the deans.
Oh God. Okay. Anyway,
They're waterlogged. What do you want me to do about them? They're waterlogged, but I think I can probably make heads or tails of them. If you give me like a little bit of time to work on it, I might be able to sort out.
Why don't you do that, and we'll make our way over to the church.
Where are you
How's
going?
that?
Why are you going to the
Oh,
church?
it's gonna go for a nighttime stroll. We figured we'd catch some fresh air. No, we're gonna go check this out, man.
Anyone ever tell you you have a bad attitude?
Yeah, all the time.
Good.
Benedict also mentioned that the veil is very thin around Annabelle's house. So I think a lot of the spiritual happenings happening right now, there's a issue with that happening around Annabelle's house.
Do you think it's some kind of problem, Benedict, or is this kind of a back burner it and deal with it next quarter kind of situation?
Well, it depends on. I think it depends on what exactly we come to find in a look around the church.
Well, I certainly don't think we should go and bother Annabelle right now, but if we
No,
need
decidedly
to,
not.
if we need to, we'll go. I guess, yeah, go and check that the church if you want. I'm gonna try to make sense of these papers, and then if we don't find anything else, then we'll just bite the bullet and go and bother Annabelle.
And it's not even necessarily that we have to take up any of her time. It's really just a closer look at the property thereabouts. The veil is thin enough in the area around this campus because, well, this is an old campus and people die all the time, but everything around Miss Annabelle's house looks like somebody took a paper shredder to it. There's almost nothing left down there.
Well, for having been around Annabelle's house a few times, I can tell you there are things in there that scare even me, and, well, I'm not surprised that things are a little bit wonky out there. I'm going to go try and make sense of these papers and try and find a light. Say around 4 a.m. latest we reconvene.
Sounds like
I gave you a goddamn matchbook.
Did you? And as he walks away.
Yes.
Oh, Darcy, before you go, is it possible in your research if you can find anything about the Silent Society as well?
Yeah. Silent Society, that's funny. What quietus means.
Exactly. That, from what we know of the story of the ghost, the ones who killed him were called the Silent Society, but now we're seeing quietus mentioned a couple times. I wonder if they had a different name.
That tells us something very important. They've read their Shakespeare. Oh, to be or not to be, that is the question.
Okay,
Whether
we're leaving now. Goodbye.
is nobler
Goodbye.
in the mind to suffer the
Yeah,
slings and arrows of outrageous fortune,
I
but
saw
to take
by
on,
Charlemagne.
as
I
we,
tried to think. Oh, wow.
as you head out to the church, and Darcy embarks on a properly melodramatic monologuing of Hamlet's soliloquy. We will take a little break here, perhaps. I think that this is probably a good moment for us to take a break, go stretch our legs, get some water. My friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us. My friends, you have found a few clues that are leading you towards a church. Hopefully to get a few more clues about what's going on. You head towards the church. Tell you a little bit about that. Hey, I know her. At the furthest reaches of the Brynwood College grounds, beyond the manicured lawns and the scattered student cottages, it's a small, forlorn chapel. Cloaked in the heavy embrace of night, it stands like a forgotten relic. Its pale wood walls faintly glowing under the cold, ghostly moonlight. The air around it is still almost unnaturally so, as though the very earth holds its breath in the presence of the chapel's quiet and enduring sorrow. The roof, long in need of repair, is half shrouded by scaffolding and tarps, shadows pooling in the broken edges of its structures, casting strange warped silhouettes against the dark sky. A few of the chapel's stained glass windows are cracked, their brilliant colors muted and chipped, allowing slivers of pale light to escape like broken whispers into the night. Their fractured forms distort the moon's pale glow, casting shards of eerie color across the surrounding overgrown ivy and moss, which has claimed the chapel's stone foundation as its own. The path leading up to the door is faint, barely visible under the cover of mist that lingers like an insistent memory. The scent of wet earth and decaying leaves hangs heavily in the air, and bushes of black roses line the foundation of the chapel and the walkway towards the stone steps that lead to the door. The church, you would know, Sloan, has not been in use for a little over 2 years while its roof is being repaired. You know that while there are workers up there and scaffolding and all that, there's no real repairs going on, that there's just no interest in the church at this time and age anymore. It is what it is. It sits vacant, empty. There hasn't been a priest or anyone like that here for a very long time. What would you like to do as you approach this place? And I would like to stipulate to Benedict that you do see ghosts roaming around the grounds. There does not seem to be many ghosts around the church. In fact, there seems to be none at all. There is this kind of emptiness of ghostly presence around it.
Like almost like a total vacuum.
Yeah, almost like they're staying away from it.
They're avoiding the church.
Oh, that's concerning. Maybe.
Maybe not. Storyteller, would I know this is also Laura asking because I'm not entirely sure what the lore is in the world of darkness. Are wraiths and ghosts not able to cross onto consecrated ground?
I think some of them probably, but it's not like a generic
Hard
thing.
and fast. Okay. Some spirits wouldn't be able to cross through over the property line due to the consecrated ground, but that's not exactly a hard and fast rule.
This might be a stupid question, but considering the fact that I'm essentially like a 3-year-old in vampire years, are we gonna get fucked up if we walk onto consecrated ground?
As far as I'm aware, no.
Depends on the kindred.
Yeah.
So, considering how young you are, this might be a good opportunity to test that.
Benedict just shoves along.
Well,
I go, okay, and much like Sarah Sanderson, when she jumps onto the
asphalt.
onto the asphalt, which she thinks is a black river, I like just.
Actually, wait. Yeah, no. Actually, if it looks like Sloane is being precious about it, Benedict will actually come up behind her and just boom over the
burning
property line.
sensation that rises. No, I'm kidding. You stumble forward, almost lose your balance, and end up hands on the church to stop yourself from falling.
And I like pause, and I like. Do I look melted?
No.
You don't look like Darcy, so far that's a win.
Wow. I'm gonna tell him you said that because that's fucking funny.
Shade. Who turned a toaster to 12? Because there's a lot of shade.
Did we blow a light in here? Damn, it's shady.
Jesus.
You're a dick. That was funny. Sloan says to Benedict. But I'm not dead. Well, I'm not any more dead than I was when I. Anyway, and I like start to just look around the church outside building. Like I know that they probably have it locked just due to the repairs if it's not daytime. But I was gonna take a look around and see if there's anything of note.
You go around, like I was saying, you can see scaffolding around. There are tarps. Most of the back half of the church is kind of covered in tarps that are beating in the wind, making this kind of sound once in a while. The front door is locked, and it's padlocked with a chain. And you can see also that the accessible part of the windows, which is the bottom half, has been boarded over with plywood.
Damn it.
Give me a investigation. Give me a wits plus investigation.
Investigation plus wits.
Can I offer assistance on that and like be a second set of eyeballs?
You absolutely can.
And a third.
You absolutely can.
What would I add an extra die per, or what would that be?
I'm gonna say add 2 die per, so add 4. Yeah.
I'm rolling a lot of dice right now.
All right. The way the system works, you have as much a chance of failure with a lot of dice as you do with.
Yep.
Shut up.
Manifested good.
6 successes.
All right.
Yay.
So as you go around the church, you will detect evidence that students have been here. You'll get cigarette butts, candy bar wrappers, things of that nature. You will detect evidence that they've tried to get in different ways, either by pulling off some of the plywood boards, etc., etc. But what you do find is under the tarp in the back, there is a back door that would have led into what is the sacristy of the church. And while the door is closed, you do notice as you're investigating and looking around that it's somewhat bent a little bit. And when you investigate closer, you realize that it has been forced open. It is currently closed, but it has been forced open, and it looks like it was successful.
Nutter butters. Hey y'all. The door is warped here.
What are butters?
Nothing. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been here. Looks like people have been in and out.
Well, we might as well go in.
Will you attempt to force the door?
Sure.
Go ahead. Do some strength. And we will say some athletics, but you can use your blood potency to increase your strength.
Yeah, because I'm a little squishy.
Need to go and...
Yeah, I don't think we have a single muscle between us.
Dude, as soon as Bleak said, not a lot of combats, like, bet, no strength.
Just go and read up on how you do that. I don't know. I believe that the rule for this, you do a rouse check, and if you succeed, you can add your blood potency to your...
Cool.
Correct.
Roll a rouse check.
Go ahead and make a rouse check.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
We masqueraded all the vampires. One success.
Yes.
Wow. You almost got it. You're pulling on this thing, and it's almost there.
Wait,
It's
sorry.
making
I got a success on my rouse check. I did not roll the strength.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I don't know how do I add my blood pool, my blood potency.
So what you're going to do is your blood potency is 2, so you're going to
add 2 dice.
Yeah, well, you know how to do that, so we'll do that.
Okay, so you want athletics plus strength?
Yeah. Good night, Varl. Thanks for hanging out, mate. Appreciate it.
Good night, Varl. Thanks.
Strength plus athletics, and then roll and then plus 2 dice.
Sorry, I'm clicking around like a friggin' loony toony, like a little Canadian.
You do have advantages too, right?
Yes. I will. I'm gonna roll. Let's see how I do. I am super strong, and I got that 1 success, but it's highlighted in red on my hunger die.
All right. So normally it would be a bestial success, which would be bad. So take a moment to thank the gods that we're not playing with bestial success. But as I was just saying, with 1 success, you are pulling on this thing, and it's bending, and it's almost coming, but you realize there's a locking mechanism inside. There's a chain that's been added on the inside that it's locked, and so you're going to need a little bit more use. Anybody else going to throw down and help?
I mean, okay, so here's the thing.
Or you could try something else. You could try something other than, bending the door.
I mean, I was just gonna... I don't have a lot of dots in larceny, but I don't have 0 dots in larceny.
Well, larcen away.
I also have a dot in larceny.
Yeah, Doc.
I'm just going to stand there
and provide support.
So what do you guys do? We work in a school, and what skills do you have? Larceny?
I don't work. Benedict does not work at a school. Benedict is a transplant from...
That was in shade. Sabat
country.
Sabat country.
Sabbat.
Yeah, Louisiana is technically controlled by the Sabbat.
I just love that you called it Sabbat country. It was great.
Okay, so I am gonna add. I'm gonna rouse the blood to add just a little bit of a boost because I've only got like 3 dice, and it was a success, a rousing success, so I don't get hungrier.
Excellent.
So, what do you want? Dex and larceny?
Yep.
Then we're gonna add another dice. I'll take it. That's 3 successes.
Excellent. So you reach in and through the bit of a door that Sloan has been able to kind of open up, you reach your hand in and with deft and dexterous fingers manage to find the latch and that's holding a chain. You pop it open and the chain and falls to the ground and the door opens, and yes, Ramona just stands there in the moonlight and looks absolutely ravishing.
I have no larceny.
I'm thinking, so like, here's the thing. From the crossbody bag, Benedict actually pulls out a little like leather case with a couple of implements in it, and that's what he uses to like reach through and kind of got it.
Excellent.
Don't ask any questions. It's fine.
You didn't see nothing. You walk into the church, and it's very clear that students come here right away. You know, empty beer cans, bottles of booze, you know, chip bags, just a bunch of crap littering the left ear. There's evidence of a small fire having been built at some point. There are books, you know, there's clear evidence. The first thing that arrests you is as you walk in, there is a banner that has been suspended across 2 walls, and it looks like maybe with shoe polish or something someone has written on it, and in big letters it just says Quo Vadis.
Gesundheit, what?
As in, quiet is spelled with a V.
No, as in Quo Vadis, the Latin phrase for who goes there.
Oh. I would know that. Cato doesn't know that, but Sloan would probably know that.
Sloan would know that this basically is a challenge by Roman sentries, Quo Vadis, who goes there.
Well, this looks like places I hung out in high school, so...
You've heard students use this phrase, you've seen it written down in places, you never really knew what it meant, but now you kind of get a feeling that it's, you know, part of this, you know, this little secret they have of this church. Like, you know, it's probably just like kind of an inside joke or whatever, a way for them to talk about this place without talking about it.
Maybe we should stick a little close to each other as we take a look around.
Fair enough. And just to keep things cloak and dagger, as it were, storyteller, I would like to activate my shadow cloak.
Okie dokie. Would you describe
Fortunately,
that?
it's free.
Would you describe what the others see as you activated this thing?
So as we do our little sneaky sneak, the long and reaching shadows that blanket the floor of this desecrated church seem to shift and slowly draw themselves towards Benedict. And as he walks and as he moves, it's like he never finds a shaft of moonlight. The shadows shift and bend around him to always keep him partially obscured.
Which is very, very impressive and perhaps a bit freaky for those like Sloan who've never really seen this kind of thing before. As you move through the abandoned chapel, it's fairly small. You can see that all the pulpits have been pushed back against the walls. You can see that there was a lot of damage, that there was a lot of water that came down. So the ceiling and part of the floors are damaged. Anything that was remotely worth anything, any art or anything like that would have been here has been taken away. a long time ago. The place has that, smelly odor of like a place where people get drunk a lot kind of thing, basically. And as you move through the church, don't see really any religious symbols left or anything really of value or anything like that. Good night, Valkyrie. Where do you go? What do you do? How do you move about here? What is it that you attempt to do? Tell me a little bit about how you proceed through the space.
Can I turn on wits and turn on heightened senses using my wits and resolve? Cool.
I'm also going to turn on Oblivion Sight, and luckily that one is free.
Every time someone says Oblivion, I think of the song about Mastodon.
Nice.
Oblivion.
I
move about the
and I
church. Tell me, give me an idea where you want to go. So there's the usual places of the church. There's like a raised dais in front with an altar. There are confessionals on either side. There are the pulpits that are lining the walls. There's like all the junk that the students have left behind. You don't see, you see a set of doors that have been removed, and you can see on the other side, and it's kind of like the area that the sacristy, basically where the priest would get ready and stuff like that.
I got 4 successes on my heightened senses roll.
Okay.
I think for right now, Ramona's just going to keep an eye out for any Kindred iconography. She has up to 2, both the iconographer and the writing on the wall dots for that one.
Okay.
Also, Oblivion Sight, if there are ghosts that aren't actively hiding, Ramona should be able to see them.
There are no ghosts. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, they seem to avoid the place, and there certainly are none inside, so you feel like there's maybe something about that. But they're definitely not around here. You move through this space looking for any clues, anything that would kind of jump out at you. You're all using some sort of enhanced senses, things of that nature. You hear the floorboards creak under your feet. You hear the wind coming in through the bell tower. You hear very faintly the bell moving on its chain, grinding a little bit as it does so. You hear the skittering and scattering of perhaps rats or something like that in the walls. The smells of the place assault your nose as you use your enhanced senses. But still, you move through the place. And at length, I will say that one of you will notice on one of the confessionals, carved out of the wood with a blade, are the letters Q and S.
Well, secret meeting place it is. I would probably look around. Storyteller, is Mortmain, is that are we considering it a red herring that was leading us to this, or is Mortmain something that I would be like keeping an eye out for?
I think, well, I don't know. You haven't really answered what it's about. It's something that is somehow linked to the Carthaginian. You know that this church is not Mortmain.
Okay.
That there may be another building, so it might be like a clue that leads to something else, but there's, your character might be on the lookout for something like that for sure.
Yeah, probably.
What would you like to do? You see this confessional there with the QS letters on it. It's just a regular confessional. It's got like a booth in the middle with a door where the priest would go in and sit on either side. There is a curtain partitions where the people confessing their sins.
Are the doors open? Like, are the doors to the confessional open, or are they currently closed? Oh, fuck. I look at it and I point and I go, that looks like a trap, possibly. But I kind of want to open it.
Well, you are free to do as you like, Cher, but I will remain back here.
Okay, fine. And I just go over and I open the door to the confessional booth.
You open the door to the confessional booth. See nothing. There's a bench where the priest would sit. There's an old purple cushion.
I probably like jump back a little bit as I open. I go in and just kind of look around, like lift the cushion and like look around to see if there's anything weird.
You search that central part where the priest sits. There's nothing that really you knock on the wood. There's nothing that really stands out as problematic or as different or as suspicious.
Interesting. And I like go out and around to where a person would kneel for confession.
When you get there, do an investigation.
Is that wits plus investigation?
Yes.
Okay.
You have your enhanced senses on?
Yes.
Now you can add 2 days.
It's investigation.
What is Ramona doing?
I think with the pointing out of the QS, I think she's going to just circle around that area to see if there's any other notes of interest or things that stand out.
Okay.
3 successes.
You find in one of the 2 side booths that the seat is removable, and behind it there is a panel. Part of the wall is a different type of wood and color.
I immediately just start to like shove it, and you're starting to hear like scraping wood as this is happening.
You manage to kind of pull it out fairly easily, and you can see that there's kind of a crawl space that goes behind the confessional.
This looks like uggity boogity bullshit. Anyone want to come with me? Please?
I love the turn of phrases you use, but sure, I'll go with you.
All right.
Who goes first?
Sloane's an idiot. She'll go first.
You crawl along. Basically, this enters behind the wall, and then there's a crawl space behind the wall. So you crawl along that for a little distance until you come to a trap in the floor. And you easily enough find a metal ring, and you pull it up and you open it. And immediately you see a little bit of soft light coming from downstairs. You see a little ladder. The room downstairs is not very tall. It's going to be about maybe 8 feet tall total. The floor appears to be made of stone from where you're sitting. You're still kneeling in the corridor on all fours in the corridor looking down. But so you can see that there's like a stone floor and wooden walls and a bit of a flickering pale light.
Do you get any pings that there might be like ghosties or anything down here?
I haven't seen anything so far. As Benedict said, it seems that the ghosts here, well, are not here, intend to keep away.
They're avoiding the property entirely.
Well, if I die...
Again?
Right. If I die again, do me a favor, would you? Will you kick Darcy in the shins and then get my lime green lighter back from him? I really want that back. And I like climb down.
You know what? Yes. I'll make that deal.
You climb down. Will the others climb down, or are you waiting to see if Sloane screams?
Yeah, no, I'm going to wait and see if screaming starts first.
Sloane, as you come down into this very low slung room, like I said, it's about 8 feet tall, so it's just enough room to kind of stand up. One, you can see that there are those battery operated candles you get at Costco. A whole bunch of them. That's the light that you're seeing. You see a big banner, this one done really well with embroidering, different colors, the whole 9 yards. Up against one wall on it is the Quietest Society symbol, the skull with the dagger and the vampire fangs. A bit more alarming is what you see on the floor. Damn it, I did it again. What you see on the floor On the floor, you see drawn in chalk various occult symbols. There's what appears to be a black vampire's mouth painted over them, and quite an amount of dried blood spilled all over the floor. The words "de ipsa nocte" are scrawled in various places around these symbols. Does your character speak Latin?
I honestly would make a bid that she probably does, being a philosophy professor. I think she probably speaks
Probably, yeah, I would say so,
Yeah.
right. De ipsa nocte means to drink from the night itself.
I pause and take out my phone and snap a picture of it. And then I call back up the ladder and go, yeah, you're definitely going to want to come take a look at this.
Well, she's not screaming, so I'm going to call that good news. And I will follow down the ladder.
And I'll follow after.
You go down, you see the same banner, you see the same elements on the floor, but as you come down, you see that Sloane is staring at something else. Sloane is staring at a wall. And on this wall, you see the symbol of the Quietist Society. You see the words written in hand: Quietist Society, drink from the night itself, adore the Carthaginian, become the thousandfold epicenter. You see three symbols. One, the male symbol, one, the female symbol, and with a fist clenching it, and one, a mixture of the male and female symbol. Three names. Beneath the male symbol is the name Severin. Beneath the female symbol is the word the name Justine, sorry. And within the masculine feminine symbol is the name Herculine.
I'd go ahead and snap a picture of that guy too.
Storyteller, the occult symbols on the floor.
Let me interrupt you for once again. You think you know that name because it was the name of Aaron's character Severa in the Dark Ages game.
Got it.
I will do you a solid here and tell you that not related.
Damn it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, because that was going to be a huge canonic thing for the rest of the series.
I was about to full on like Always Sunny red string that shit. Fine, Bleak.
I will also say that there is like one of those big steamer trunks also in a corner somewhere. There is a couple of chairs and evidence of like bottles of wine and things like that that are scattered around.
Okay. I still want to take a look at those occult symbols though.
You take a look at them. Give me an occult plus intelligence.
I'll also help with that if needed.
That would be 4 successes.
All right. So pretty quickly you realize that most of the symbols are a hodgepodge of fake things. Like random things found on the internet and copied over sort of thing.
Okay. All right.
Nothing really stands out as being true occult.
Great. Cool.
Is this just a bunch of shithead kids thinking that they're vampires? Because this looks like it might be a bunch of shithead kids thinking they're vampires.
Well, I can tell you whatever they've scrawled on the floor is gobbledygook.
The blood is very real, though.
Yeah, okay, maybe they're not pretending to be vampires. Maybe they actually think they are vampires and are doing some weird fucked up shit, like, I don't know, killing the heads of the houses.
Oh, that's good. All right. I'm gonna regret this. The storyteller, I would like to go over to the steamer trunk.
You go over to the steamer trunk. It's not locked. You pop it open.
Did you just laugh?
Yes, he did.
He laughed. He laughed.
Right.
I didn't like that.
We ice skated right past that, and I was like, hold up.
I hated that.
You open the chest. You find that it contains a varied assortment of sex toys, S&M instruments. You find a pile of books. You scan through them, all of them. Dark classic erotic literature. You see the Sade, Pauline Réage, Lautréamont, Von Sacher, Masoch, Matthew Lewis. Other books of philosophy and the occult.
All right, so somebody's decided to have a grand old time down here, which, you know what, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum, but... What?
They left all their nasties here. I bet those haven't been cleaned.
I will get their yum. Not only it's not clean, but also this is not clean. This entire area is not clean.
It's not even remotely hygienic at all. All right, the occult books.
You flip through the occult books, and one of them catches your attention. There's an old student journal, perhaps from the late 19th century. You flip it open. Most of the stuff inside is fluff, but you do find, crumpled in there, a few more pages of Annabelle's writings, stained with blood. You unfurl them and read. 3 times one must drink of the blood, and thus the special bond is forged. This emotion created by the blood is more powerful than any other human emotion, the very height of self-abnegating love for another, and the most frenzied of sexual acts, pale in comparison. As the bard put it, it is a consummation devoutly to be wished. Another one reads, "It's always in the blood. Our kind is but an extension of it. Drink deep, and the night opens up to you, eternally." Another one. "It is so easy to drink from the night itself. It is true that one must pay a price to never see the sun again, but the very lights of the night become brighter, and all passions inflamed and increased 1,000-fold. The 1,000-fold epicenter is what we become, living and feeling more than we ever did as mortals."
I will dispense this knowledge to the rest of the group. So, storyteller, does that mean that the pages from Annabelle, are these just happenstance in the journal, as if someone has taken them? Or
Yeah.
The journal itself, is there a name in it?
There is. I'm going to have you roll. Go ahead and roll an investigation check.
I don't know much about being a vampire, considering the fact that,
That
again,
was a blood bond, right? She was describing a blood bond, right?
right.
Yes, that is just quintessential blood bond. The fact that has been found by whatever students are running around down here is more than a little concerning.
Does that sound like Breaking the Masquerade?
Sure does.
That sounds like Breaking the Masquerade. I think someone's breaking the masquerade, guys.
Several
Again,
times over.
toddler, but just guessing.
I don't know Annabelle well, but I don't want to assume. I think she's a bit more involved than letting on.
Well, we don't. We don't know that for sure. At the very least, someone has managed to get a hold of her pages.
Her pages keep getting found in places, so
Like in really obvious places.
You would think an elder would be smarter than that.
Well, maybe
so
she's
tell us
sicker than
your-
we thought.
That's ooh. I'm not gonna think about that right now. 3 successes for
Excellent.
investigation.
While we're at that, would someone make me an academics and intelligence roll?
Oh, I can do that.
Anyone with academics. I'm going to say anyone with academics 2 at least can try it.
I have academics 3.
I don't.
I do not.
Oh,
because I went occult.
I
Academics 1.
academics. I have academics specialty. So I think I get to add an extra dice to it.
No, I think it just means that.
I think that's depending on your specialty.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just philosophy.
Depending on the special. Yeah, depending on the specialty, you can add an extra dice.
Philosophy. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. Simply
Wow,
because-
Bleakseason's so nice. Okay.
Simply because in researching this myself, I found a lot of mentions of Kant, so I'm guessing that connects. It can't be good.
I have so many Kant jokes. What a Kant. Anyway, you wanted intelligence with that too?
Yes.
Laura just signed off. She's like, bye.
I feel that.
Laura's
feel
like, I
that so
can't
hard.
take it anymore.
I can't take it anymore. Ooh, that's 4 successes.
You would realize something. You would realize that the names on the wall are names of characters in some of the books that were in the Steam trunk. Justine is the name of a character from a Marquis de Sade book.
Yes.
Not 120 Days of Sodom, but Justine, in fact, actually, is what it's called. Herculine is also not only the name of a character, but the name of the writer of a French woman who wrote the story of her life as a hermaphrodite. It was discovered by Foucault in some godforsaken bunch of records in France somewhere, and he published it. And Severin is the name of a character from just because I want to say it. Phoebus. It'll come
Venus
back to
in
me.
Furs?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. It is the name of the masochist in Venus in Furs, which was written by von Sacher Masoch, which is where we get the term masochist from.
Okay, great. So sadomasochism. I mean, it sounds kind of fun, but also
Too bad.
bad.
Beaches.
See you, Nat 20.
Goodbye, PJ. Sipo.
Bye.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Laura made a roll also.
I am gonna apologize to them because I totally steamrolled that roll. I'm sorry.
Okay. Laura.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for steamrolling your roll, Laura. My bad.
Crystals of Dawn. What were you rolling, Laura? Remind me, please.
I rolled investigation and intelligence at one point, but I did not roll for academics because I put all of my dots in occult instead of academics. Unless you needed me to roll something else, in which
No,
case.
no, I'm just trying to remember why I was making you roll. Oh, yes. No, that wasn't it. Why was I making you roll?
I don't know, Blake. I'm not in your brain.
You're investigating the... Oh, yes, no, I know now. The book. You do manage to find... The book is scrawled over with a whole bunch of names, and you get the feeling that this is a book that has been passed down, and that everyone who's kind of had it has marked their name in it. So there's like a whole list of names in the front cover of all the students who've kind of passed it down. But you've kind of figured out with your investigation the one you think is probably the original one, which is Mathis Barnbridge.
Mathis Barnbridge. Is there perchance a date next to that name?
It is somewhere in the 1920s.
Okay.
Sorry, just because I didn't calculate it, so now I'm kind of semi-guessing, but it would be around 1920.
All right. That does not...
It says 1920, and then the last number is illegible.
Okay. Well, that does not help me. At least not directly, because I'm as previously stated, the Carthaginian is dressed in like what, Jacobean?
18th century, 19th century. Sorry, 18th century clothes.
Okay, not quite old enough. However, I will give the name over to the other two. The oldest name in this book.
Does it ring any bells?
No, you might have to check records.
Wow.
Is it possible that the Carthaginian is maybe a title and not one particular person? And
What do you mean?
Well, first with the book, the dates didn't correlate with our ghosts so far, but the Carthaginian, capital C, has been mentioned multiple times throughout this entire investigation so far. And it could also align with the difference of, one, the ghost, but then also the legend.
You mean like a dean or a head of something like the title gets passed down?
Maybe. I also think this Carthaginian may be a bit more than just a normal person. Maybe something a bit more, but I'm not quite sure. It's just odd that it keeps repeating, and it keeps getting more bloody and associated with the society.
I will say, whilst you're talking about that and whilst you're mentioning it, it's going to be weird, but you can all go ahead and make me, I'm going to say a wits, and I am going to say, let's do awareness. Awareness is good. I'm going to let you do awareness. Yeah, awareness is fine. Let's do awareness. Or insight. Do that. Wits plus awareness or plus insight.
I have a specialty in motives for insight. Would that count for this?
No.
Okay, making sure.
Yeah. Good of you to ask.
3 successes.
Also 3 successes. And that's for wits and awareness specifically.
Same.
I'm gonna re-roll that 1 second. Gotta make sure it falls. Okay, 3 successes.
All of you, at the mention of blood, bend down, maybe check it out, and you're all reasonably certain that it is ghoul blood that's on the floor.
This is a weird thought. So we have 2 bodies. Both of them are ghouls. We find this room. The ghouls are dying in these really very, I don't know, demonstrative ways. They're super showy. They want people to find them. We're lucky we're getting there before they do. or anybody that shouldn't be seeing stuff like that. Do you think they're doing this willingly? Like, I don't know, just the ghoul blood on the floor. Maybe they're willing to do this. Maybe that's part of the whole thing.
We haven't really seen signs of struggle, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, is this blood looking like signs of struggle, or is it looking like bloodletting and some of it spilled on the floor? Like
it looks like spillage.
Okay.
Your radio crackles to life, Sloan. Sloan, this is Harash, the head security. Come in, Sloan.
Harash, I got you.
We found a third one. There's only about an hour before dawn. We're probably going to need help to clear it out before the students get in.
Fuck. Where? Who is it?
Third housemaster.
Shit. Where?
In the pool house.
Ah, fuck. Okay, well, swim team will be in very quickly, so we better go.
As you turn off your radio, you notice something, Sloan. Near the candles, there are those electric Costco candles, and there's a bunch of real candles. You see a box of wooden matches. On it is the sign for 20 miles of rough road.
Ooh. I'm taking it.
You grab it. You head out to get back out and go and help your friend. As you start climbing the ladder, you look up, and framed in the hole in the floor of the door, which you see you're about to exit, you see the Carthaginian. And he looks down at you, and he smiles. He does this. And then he slams the trap door shut.
Oh, fuck.
And on that note, my friend, this is where we're going to end tonight's session.